Good day. It is July the 29th, and today we're going to finish up Judges 14, doing verses 18 through 20, and Proverbs 29. Remember, if you'd like to be tagged when I post these videos, or if you have any questions, comments, concerns, suggestions, complaints, or anything else, you may reach me through 810-242-2997. That's 810-242-2997. You can call, text, leave a message, whichever you like. Begin Judges 14, starting at verse 18, going to the end of the chapter. So, before sunset on the seventh day, the men of the town came to Samson with this answer: "What is sweeter than honey? What is stronger than a lion?" Samson replied, "If you hadn't plowed with my heifer, you wouldn't have solved my riddle." 19. Then the Ruach of Yahweh came powerfully upon him. He went down to Ashkelon and killed 30 men, took their belongings, and gave their belongings to the men who had solved his riddle. But Samson was furious about what had happened, and he went back home to live with his father and mother. 20. So his wife was given in marriage to the man who had been Samson's best man at the wedding. Okay, Samson had given during the feast of the wedding, so technically they're married at the beginning of the wedding, the first day. The consummation isn't until the last day. So they are married. So before sunset of the seventh day, the men, and she was crying and weeping all sorts. The men of the town came to Samson with their answer: "What is sweeter than honey, and what is stronger than a lion?" At the last moment, he did that. They wanted to string things out. And it was political, I'm sure. So Samson replied, "If you hadn't plowed with my heifer, you wouldn't have solved my riddle." In other words, if you hadn't gone to my wife, you wouldn't have solved it. Then the Ruach of Yahweh came powerfully upon him. He went down to Ashkelon, killed 30 men, took their belongings, and gave their clothing to the man who had solved his riddle. He went down there, killed the men, then he was furious afterwards. The fury should have came first. Because here. But Samson was furious. See, it came afterwards. About what happened, and he went back home to live with his father and mother. No consummation of the marriage, but they are married. Verse 20. So his wife was given in marriage to the man who had been Samson's best man at the wedding. That's, so she wouldn't be disgraced. And the family wouldn't be disgraced especially. Proverbs 29. He that being often reproved, hardeneth his neck, shall suddenly be broken, and that without remedy. In other words, you keep on being reproved by God, and you keep on getting a stiff neck, he will break you. And quickly. You'll be being stubborn like a stiff-necked, hard-headed ox. 2. When the righteous are increased, the people rejoice. When the wicked beareth rule, the people sigh. Whoso loveth wisdom rejoices his father, but he that keepeth company with a harlot wasteth his substance. 4. The king by justice establishes the land, but he that exacts gifts overthrows it. In other words, if you take bribes, you overthrow the land. It doesn't matter, because it's injustice. 5. A man that flattereth his neighbor spreadeth a net for his steps. Flattering leads to overconfidence, to things that he really can't do all that well. It's like giving out participation trophies and saying, "Oh, you did so good," when you didn't do good. Hey, don't insult them. Don't get me wrong. But just tell the truth. 6. In the transgression of an evil man, there is a snare, but the righteous do sing and rejoice. When evil sins, when evil transgresses, he will be caught up in it, his own sin. 7. The righteous take knowledge of the cause of the poor. The wicked understandeth not knowledge. This is in court. The wicked don't understand why people should get a fair trial, or be defended, or be concerned. 8. Scornful men set a city ablaze, but wise men turn away wrath. 9. If a wise man contendeth with a foolish man, whether he be angry or laugh, there should be no rest. Because you can't contend with them. They keep on arguing. 10. The men of blood, those who murder, hate them that is sincere, and as for the upright, they seek his life, because they oppose murder and other things like that. 11. A fool spendeth all his spirit, but a wise man stilleth within him. 12. If a ruler hearkeneth to falsehood, all his servants are wicked. 13. The poor man and the oppressor meet together. Yahweh has given light to the eyes of them both. God made both the rich and the poor. Do not insult them. You're insulting God then. 14. The king that faithfully judges the poor, his throne shall be established forever. 15. The rod and the reproof give wisdom, but a child left to himself causes shame to his mother. A child without instruction, without discipline, will do evil. 16. When the wicked are increased, transgression increases, but the wicked shall gaze upon their fall. But the righteous shall gaze upon their fall. 17. Correcteth thy son, and he will give thee rest. Yea, he will give delight unto thy soul. 18. Where there is no vision, that is law, the people cast off restraint. But he that keepeth the Torah, happy is he. If you keep God's law, you will be happy. It says so in Psalm 119. 19. A servant will not be corrected by words, for though he understand, there will be no response. 20. Seest thou a man that is hasty in his words? There is more hope for a fool than him. 21. He that delicately bringeth up a servant from a child shall have him become master at the last. 22. An angry man stirreth up strife. A wrathful man aboundeth in transgression, because they can't control themselves. 23. A man's pride shall bring him low, but he that is of lowly spirit shall obtain honor. 24. Whoso is partner with a thief hateth his own soul. He hears adjuration and uttereth nothing. 25. The fear of man brings a snare. No, if you fear what men might think of you or do to you, you're going to be trapped. But he who putteth his trust in Yahweh shall be set on high. God will protect you. 26. Many seek the ruler's favor, but a man's judgment comes from Yahweh. And 29. An unjust man is an abomination to the righteous, and he that is upright in the way is an abomination to the wicked. They cannot get along. I hope you've been blessed by this reading. May the Lord richly bless you. Remember, if you'd like to be tagged when I post these videos, or if you have any questions, comments, concerns, suggestions, complaints, or anything else, you may reach me through 810-242-2997. That's 810-242-2997. You can call, text, leave a message, whichever you like. Remember, Jesus loves you, and so do I.